What makes you feel jealous? What makes you feel like you're in competition with somebody else? Is it the success of somebody else, some advantages that they have? What makes you feel vigilant and guarded around people? How much do you fear disloyalty? Hi, this is Sarah Russell. I'm your microdose host here with your weekly mood boost and tools for transformation. And in today's episode, I'll be talking about how to manage jealousy, or at least how to start managing jealousy, because it's a big topic, right? I was taking this Qigong class and I was noticing myself getting irritated by another student in the class. So here's what would happen. She would go into a forward fold. And as she was going into a forward fold, it became very obvious the booty shorts that she was wearing. So booty would be hanging out as she's in this forward fold. I'm already distracted, kind of side-eyeing her. And then as she would come up from the stretch, she'd do one of those hairography, like waterfall, like hair flick back, where this like long, sexy mane of hers would start cascading down her back. And I was definitely feeling some feelings about this. But part of that is because I was rolling into Qigong class in cut-off sweats and ratty old t-shirts, and I realized I had definitely internalized this idea from school trauma that my teachers put in my body that I wasn't allowed to be distracting in class. Sarah, stop playing with your hair. Sarah, don't be braiding your hair in class. Stop putting on lip gloss in class, Sarah. It's distracting for the other students. And this idea that if I was doing anything that could even remotely be perceived as sexual in any way, I was a distraction and that was a bad thing. And I have to tell you, this other student was definitely distracting. And I realized I didn't want her to stop being distracting. I wanted to give myself permission to be more distracting in class. So sometimes the reason why we're jealous is because somebody has a piece of something else that we want, and we might not want it in the particular package that they're presenting it in, but we still want something that they have. There may be some kind of scarcity around jealousy where we feel like we're not getting enough of something that we want or need. We might feel jealous if we're worried about how somebody else is perceiving us, right? So let's say our partner is doing something in public with somebody else and we're worried about how that reflects on us. And so we start feeling jealous about like public shaming. So here's the thing, is jealousy is really complicated and it's really confusing. Part of the reason it's so confusing is because it's a bunch of compound sensations and emotions, and a lot of those things can directly contradict and conflict with each other. So for instance, there might be a little bit of like, oh, I want to be publicly claimed, but also I have too much pride and I just want to be an independent woman. So, please don't do any public displays. We can have these splits inside our body that make it really confusing about what it is that we want and need. Jealousy is also confusing because of this idea that it's a compound emotion. And so when I say a compound emotion, I mean jealousy is actually comprised of a lot of other different kinds of emotions, right? So if you say you're happy, or you say you're sad, or you say you're angry, the people around you are going to have a pretty good idea of what's going on inside you. But my particular blend of jealousy might actually be considerably different than your blend of jealousy. How much resentment we're feeling, how withdrawn we feel, how angry we feel, how sad or heartbroken we feel. We're all going to have our particular blend. So the very first thing you want to do if you're going to try to get a handle on your jealousy is get really clear on what your constellation of sensations is in your body so you can start recognizing it. So you want to pay attention to, is there any movement that's happening in your body? Are you getting kind of a buzzing or electricity? Is there a kind of slowing down that's happening? What kind of pressure are you feeling in your body? Is something feeling tense? Is something feeling heavy? Maybe something's feeling numb or something's feeling floaty. And then you can also pay attention to the temperature. Does something flush hot as you go into a rage? Do you get icy cold as you go into fear? So these are things you can begin to start tracking as you're trying to manage your jealousy. And one of the reasons that you want to do this is because the act of observing, first of all, creates more space in your body for whatever experience you're having. So if you're just having the experience of jealousy, that's taking up a certain amount of space in your body. But if you're able to watch yourself having that experience, you create a little bit of breathing room for the experience that you're having. The other thing is that when we observe ourselves, when we observe our witness consciousness, our observing consciousness, we actually are able to come from more choice. We're able to respond instead of react. And we can really choose who we would like to be moving forward versus just reacting based on who we've been in the past. The second thing you're going to want to do is get really familiar with the different emotions that are going on in your body. So like I said, anger feels like a prime emotion. Sadness feels like a prime emotion. Happiness feels like a prime emotion. Jealousy is a compound emotion. There could be lots of different things going on. And some of the examples of what you might be feeling with jealousy include feeling afraid, annoyed, confused, disconnected, embarrassed, fatigued, sad. You might feel tense or vulnerable. There might be some kind of yearning. You could feel hurt and angry. You might be feeling some kind of aversion, or you might be feeling some form of disquiet. And seeing how many feelings are going on inside of us actually provides this bit of contextualization where no wonder it feels so awful. No wonder it feels so overwhelming, because in that list that I just read, you might be feeling all of those things. You might be feeling strange combinations of those things. So no wonder jealousy takes up so much space in the body and feels so bad. And here's the thing, you're going to want to hold yourself through this difficulty. And when I say hold yourself, I mean hold yourself with grace, hold yourself with compassion, because it sucks enough to be experiencing all of the awful feelings of jealousy without adding shame and blame into the mix. The third thing you're going to want to do is identify your underlying needs. Now's the time to figure out if there's a piece of what somebody else has that you want. Maybe you need to literally let your hair down and rock those booty shorts, or if there's some kind of scarcity in some way, or if you need to manage feeling publicly shamed in some way. So here's a list of some needs you may have, and this comes from Nancy Shanto's work around jealousy. You may need to feel important, to feel socially powerful, or at least to not be socially humiliated. You may need to have influence. You may need to be included. You may need to feel desirable. You may need to feel autonomous. You may need to focus and direct your attention, which means you don't want to be distracted. Jealousy can be incredibly distracting. If you've ever felt jealous when you're about to go into a big work project of some kind, how creative or focused can you be? So you might need to be able to focus your attention. And you might also need to feel equal to the other people you're interacting with. So are you going one down? Do you need to be going one down? Are you trying to go one up as a way to try to make yourself feel better than other people because actually you feel less than in some way? Tracking how powerful we feel across our context is also really helpful in managing our jealousy. It's okay to need these things. And we're more likely to get our needs met if we know what they are, if we can name them, because then we can either give them to ourselves or we can ask other people for help in meeting our needs. Jealousy feels terrible. And because it feels terrible, we can start looking around for who did something wrong. Did I do something wrong? Did you do something wrong? You must have done something bad in order to make me feel this bad. And maybe that's true. Maybe somebody did do something awful to you, but maybe there was also just a mismatch or a difference in needs, or you didn't know what you wanted in the moment and now you do and you can ask for it. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about a time you felt jealous. And I know that's an awful thing for me to ask you to do. So make sure it's a small situation. You don't need to super trigger yourself. It doesn't need to be the worst experience of jealousy you've ever had. But think about a time when you felt some scarcity or some danger or some competition of some kind. And then notice where you were located in your body and what sensations you were feeling. Name all of the complicated emotions that were swirling through your body, and then identify what your underlying needs were. I know it's really tempting to want to stuff down feelings of jealousy, and there can also be some shame in even feeling jealous to begin with. We don't want to be jealous, right? That makes us feel like we're insecure or we lack confidence in some way. It makes the people around us feel terrible, but jealousy is a perfectly normal emotion. So I mentioned happiness and sadness and anger and fear, and yes, those are primary emotions, but that doesn't make them better than jealousy. Jealousy is just as valid as any of the other emotions that you're feeling. And by turning towards our jealousy, it can be incredibly empowering to recognize and validate our experience of it and to know a plan, to have some kind of plan for how we're going to deal with it moving forward. And I want to acknowledge that dealing with jealousy is a bit of a behemoth, and this is just a starting point. Jealousy is very complicated, and we need all kinds of tools for how to manage it. And the tools that I'm offering to you today, they're not going to make it so that you never feel jealous again. What they are going to do is create a little bit more spaciousness in your body so that you have more choice around how to deal with your jealousy, how to respond to the discomfort of your jealousy. Here's a quote from Adrienne Marie Brown from Pleasure Activism, The Politics of Feeling Good. We need radical honesty, learning to speak from our root systems about how we feel and what we want. Speak our needs and listen to others' needs. To say, I need to hear that you miss me. When you're high all the time, it's hard for me to feel your presence. I lied. The way you talked to that man made me feel unseen. Your jealousy makes me feel like an object and not a partner. The result of this kind of speech is that our lives begin to align with our longings, and our lives become building blocks for authentic community and ultimately a society that is built around true needs and real people, not fake news and bullshit norms. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed, please leave a review on Apple Podcast. It helps me keep creating content. Also, go to trendswithbenefits.com to check out all of our written work as well as sign up for our weekly newsletter. If you have any relationship questions, please feel free to send a voice memo to podcast@mudwtr.com. Try to keep it fairly short so that we can play it on the air and give some people some context about what you're going through. But you can stay as anonymous as you want to, so you can give a pseudonym or a stage name or a pen name if you want to. But I would love to offer you some support on this podcast. The other thing I am happy to offer you is a discount code. It's BOOST25 for 25% off your first order of Mudwater's newest drop, which is a mushroom boost. It contains 8 different mushrooms that help you with focus and vitality and immunity. And we would love for you to try it. We'd love for you to gift it to a friend. We'd love to know how you're using it. Are you putting it in your drinks? Are you baking with it? Y'all know I'm putting it in my pancakes, and I love that oh so much. I hope you feel good inside your body and inside your life. And good luck. Jealousy's tough. Take care.